We're just gonna pretend I have muscles in this video. Hi, I'm Chad, I'm 22, and I'm not straight. It's about as good of an intro as we're gonna get. Okay, so I genuinely hate listening to myself talk, and I've already tried to shoot this video once. Trying to sift through an hour of footage and then condense it down to a 15-minute or less YouTube video is bruh. So I'm gonna take another whack at it and just try to trim the fat this time. Alright, so I said I'm not straight. Well, it's 2016 and there's more labels for people than there are for soup cans. I read that on the internet and I thought it was witty. Heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, asexual, transsexual. I just found out demisexual is a thing. That one's pretty interesting. How's about you just watch this video through to the end and then call me whatever you want. Cool. My hair was pissing me off and now I'm wearing a hat. Okay, so going back to when I was younger, like 6 or 7 years old, I do recall having an attraction to boys that was not like my attraction to girls. And look, 6, 7 years old, I didn't know what sex was. But gay feelings, just like any other type of feelings, aren't just about sex. They go deeper than that into the base of how you feel about people on a person-to-person basis. And so, yeah, even from a very young age, you can tell what you do and do not like to a very basic extent. At least from my experience. None of this really mattered, of course, until junior high school around 6th grade when sex suddenly becomes everything. I remember one time specifically when I was in PE. Of course it's PE. It's always PE. It's like the most traumatic class for a gay kid, right? Class was just about over and we were all changing out of our gym clothes and back into our regular clothes and getting ready to go to our next class. And one of the older kids, one of the older, more athletic boys came and stood behind me. And I don't know if I liked him, if I had some kind of thing for him, or why the hell I fell for this, but he's standing there behind me while I'm changing my clothes and he whispers in my ear, "Hey, I'm naked." And so, of course, the first thing I did was turn around and look down. And as soon as I did, faggot, he looked, did you see? He's a queer, what a faggot. And honestly, that's just how evil kids are. Like, I didn't really even know these guys, and they still went as far as to set a trap for me just to see if there was something they could pick out about me to step on. And I fell for it. So I promptly punched him in the dick. And so from here on through to the end of high school, that's generally where the darker side of things happen. You know, I had my own ups and my downs and my social awkwardness just like anybody else. And I'm sure that if you're watching this video, I really don't need to tell you that, yeah, you see some of the nastier sides of people, and not only your peers, but also some of the adults around you. And it's tough. It really is. But obviously high school doesn't last forever, and in just the small gap of time between when I graduated up until now, there has been some really great progress in not only acceptance, but just in positivity in general. So, you know, that's where I'd like to keep the focus today. So it wasn't until after I graduated when I was really starting to feel, you know, social anxieties really begin to slip away. And, you know, you're out in the real world now, so it's easier to focus on being a real person. And it wasn't until I was 18 years old that I was finally able to look in the mirror and admit it to myself that I liked guys. Like I was aware of it, obviously, but it wasn't until then that I was actually able to admit it to myself and, you know, give myself a break. It was like, "Chad, buddy, how long has it been since you've had a girlfriend? Come on, dude." And so from there, obviously the next question that follows after acceptance is, all right, so when and how am I going to come out? And look, you guys, I had a plan. I had a very specific vision of how I wanted everything to play out. And I was going to achieve all of my dreams and become so successful that when I finally did come out, it was just going to be so irrelevant in such a small portion of my life that nobody was really going to care. And so essentially I was aiming to make myself untouchable. That is not how things went down at all. Fast forward to this year, 2016, and my work life was going pretty great. I was working with a really solid company that rhymes with schmoogle. I'm afraid of lawsuits. And I was accepting not my first, but my actual second promotion with the company. And I was really happy, but at the same time, I was really depressed. Because here I was taking another step forward in this life and reaping all the benefits of the hard work, of this person that I was still just pretending to be. And I don't know, maybe that's awkward, but I just kind of felt like I couldn't take credit as my 100% self. Does that make sense? I didn't like it. So, what's next, right? Well, when I get depressed, I look for a change. I look for some kind of way to shake things up and allow myself to look at life from a different angle. So, what do? Here comes Grindr. I had never used the app before. In fact, this phone that I'm recording with right now is my first ever smartphone that I bought for myself that Christmas. I was never really one of those people that was on my phones a lot, so I just didn't care. I used the old text phone, but anyways, so I knew it was a gay-oriented app, and that's what drew me to it, but it didn't take me long to realize that that is not a dating app. That is not a dating app. I was just looking for somebody to talk to, and instead I got a bunch of really angry looking penises. What? So look, you sift through all of that, and eventually I actually found a nice guy. He was handsome, and he actually knew how to punctuate his sentences with proper English. And so yeah, when he asked me to go see a movie with him, I said yes. And then I realized how terrified I really was. I mean, nobody knew, no friends, no family, nobody knew that I liked guys. And yet, I was going on a date. The next day, we meet up at the movies, and he's really nice. We're just standing around talking for a little while, kind of just trying to get to know each other. And we walk up to the booth to pay for our tickets, and I forgot my feckin' wallet. Oh my God. Very first date with a guy ever, and I screwed up. I was trying to explain, look, I'm just gonna go back and get it. I promise I'll be right back. And he was really nice about it. He's like, look, don't worry about it. I got this one. I got you covered. Just, you can catch the next one. Okay, it's cool. That was really nice. So, we enjoyed the rest of the movie. It was a good time. Afterwards, we went to a park and just kind of walked around and got to know each other a little more. And it was really nice. I genuinely enjoyed myself. I mean, in the end, we kind of wound up just going our separate ways. He wasn't the one, but I had a good time, and overall, it felt right. The next night, I was going out to a bar with some friends, and I had to stop and pick up my friend Steffi. And Steffi and I are really close. She's someone that I've told a lot of things to, so she gets in the car, all ready to go, and I'm driving, and then halfway out of her apartment complex, I stop the car and I park it. And I look at her and I'm like, I gotta tell you something. And she's one of those people that laughs when she gets nervous, so it was hard for me to be serious. But I thought my heart was going to blow a hole in my chest and jump out the fucking window. It was beating so hard. So finally, I just spit it out. I looked at her and I said, Steffi, look, you're a really close friend of mine. I care about you a lot, and I think you should just know that I'm not straight. I like guys. And she was quiet for a minute, just thought about it. And then she's like, well, fuck, man, I thought you were going to say you loved me. So we laughed it off for a while, and overall she was very comforting. She did everything that a good friend would do in that situation, and just told me, I accept you no matter what. I'm glad we're friends, and it was great. So as if everything else up to this point wasn't already a hot mess, this is where bad choices start to happen. I still went out to the bar with my friends that night, and I was kind of celebrating, and in that celebration, I got pretty drunk. And so when I finally made it home that night, my mother was asleep, and I walked into her room and I sat on her bed, and of course she jumped up like all alarmed, like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, what's going on? And I just, I was struggling. I was having a hard time saying anything, and so she just kind of sat up and she put her arms around me, rubbing my back. What's wrong? You can talk to me. And so again, I just finally spit it out, and I was like, Mom, I'm gay. I like guys. And, of course it didn't go that smooth. I was making the ugly Kim Kardashian cry face, but, regardless, it went smooth in the sense that she's my mother, she's my best friend, and she told me that she loves me no matter what. And that's really all I expected from her. I didn't expect any less of her, I should say. And of course, I was still nervous regardless, because my story was a good one, but they're not always that smooth. There's a lot of them out there, that a lot of folks that have to deal with a lot more than that, and I'm one of the lucky ones. From there, it pretty much snowballed. I wound up polling some of my close friends and just telling them one by one, and that's pretty much where I am today. This is all one giant process that I'm still kind of working my way through, and there's a lot of people in my life that still don't know. That's perfectly okay. You know, some of it's by design and some of it's because I just haven't had a chance to sit with people in person and talk to them and tell them about it. You know, at this point in my life, I'm not going to deny who or what I am, but who I choose to go out of my way to tell is completely within my control. And the same goes for you or for anybody else that might watch this video. You don't have to be afraid to be yourself, but you also don't have to rush it. You can do whatever you want to do whenever it feels right. And look, you can't plan for something like this. It's just going to happen, but you'll know when you feel comfortable enough to let it happen. I hope this video can be of some kind of help to anybody that may need it. I know that when I was beginning this process, I used to binge watch coming out videos. Like seriously, I'd have all my snacks and I'd be in bed like it was a movie day. It was ridiculous. So other than that, I just wanted this to be one of the first few videos I posted on this channel just so I can start things off as my 100% authentic self. And I hope everyone can appreciate that. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video all the way through to the end. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.